But I do think it's been especially tough on Native people. Not the pandemic, but this year has been especially tough on Native people. Do you guys remember the lobster stuff that was going on down in Digby? The lobster dispute? All the racism going on down in Digby, we had to deal with that. That was so frustrating because, it was all anyone could talk about for a bit was lobster this, lobster that, lobster. It got super frustrating because, to me, there was just such an easy solution to the whole thing. Like, you line up all the white fishermen on one side, you line up all the Native fishermen on the other side, you put the lobster in the middle, let the lobster choose. Worked for my parents in the divorce. Yeah, it was one of the phrases. I don't know if you guys heard this one, but like I said, it was all anyone could talk about for a bit. Was one of the things that they kept saying was seasons for a reason. Did anyone hear that? There are seasons for a reason. The racist fisherman kept saying that, and like growing up, I only heard a phrase similar to that at Christmas time. People would say Jesus is the reason for the season. Have you guys heard that one? Jesus is the... So, a racist fisherman came up to me and he's like, yeah, there are seasons for a reason. And I'm like, yeah, Jesus is the reason for the season. And he got all confused. He's like, what are you talking about, man? And I'm like, let's just think about it, Jesus, here's a guy who fed 5,000 people, and he claims to have only had 2 fish. I bet that's what he told the government. I bet that's what he had tags for. Moderate livelihood, my ass, Jesus. And then we had, more recently, it's a bit sadder. Obviously I'm wearing an orange shirt. I'm sure you guys have all heard about the awful discoveries at these schools, these residential schools across the country. I believe we're up to over 2,088 is the number, I think. At 11 schools. Can we stop calling them schools? Can we stop calling them residential schools? Yeah, a school is a place you go to learn, and that's not what these places were, Plus, when you say residential school, it makes me think of like Hogwarts, like some Harry Potter shit, But let me ask you this. Did Harry Potter have to deal with some evil, pale-faced dickhead in black robes trying to murder him just because of who he was born? Oh shit, I guess he did. I guess Harry Potter was indigenous. That's how that goes. People keep fucking with Native people throughout history. It's just a historical thing, and I don't understand why. I don't get why. Because sure, we come off as peaceful. We do our drumming and our ceremonies, and we even have a peace pipe. But really, deep down, we're vengeful. We're spiteful bastards. We'll do the peace pipe thing while we're alive, but when we're dead, we'll haunt the shit out of you. You guys ever watch a Stephen King movie or read a Stephen King book? Some poor white bastard builds his porch a little too far. Bam! Poltergeisted. I love horror movies, man. I really do. Horror movies, Stephen King. I love it all. There's nothing like that emotion, that visceral gut feeling of emotion, that fear you feel in a horror movie. You don't get that with other genres. But I think generally, Native people are a bit too skeptical for horror as a genre. They're too skeptical for horror movies. I got tongue-tied, now I'm messed up. But yeah, we're too skeptical for horror movies. I think that's why you don't see so many natives in Hollywood, because of that reason. Imagine a native movie producer and you're pitching him a horror movie. It's all right, I've got this great idea for a horror movie. Okay, let me hear it. Okay, there's a group of people and they're lost in the woods. Why don't they just look at the stars? Well, because there are spirits in the woods. Yeah, I know. A horror movie came out a few years ago. It was called The Nun. Did anyone see that movie? The Nun. It was so bad. I did not like The Nun. A white person made that movie. White people think nuns are scary. Imagine if it was made by a native person. But imagine pitching that, all right, so I've got this idea. it's a couple of people. If you haven't seen the movie, this is the plot of the movie, by the way. A couple of people show up to investigate a body at a convent. Oh, is this a documentary? No, it's a horror movie. Oh, okay. Well, what's the twist? Well, when they get there, it turns out the nun is evil and violent. What's the twist? All right, I've got this great idea. People are going to call this the greatest horror movie of all time. It's called The Exorcist. All right, what do you got? Okay, there's a girl, a young girl, and there's an old priest and a young priest. I'm going to stop you right there. Let's not do this one. The only type of horror movie that really scares a native person is zombie movies, you know? Okay, I got this idea for a horror movie. All right, shoot. A group of brain-dead people with an unknown infectious disease show up in the country and destroy civilization. Ugh. Bit too scary for me. I do really like that, like living here in Nova Scotia, living in Eskasoni, living in Cape Breton. I do love that we're getting more diverse, our population. We're seeing more and more people coming from all around the world, getting more diverse. We've got, people coming for school, people coming for work from China, from Saudi Arabia, from India, all these places. It really sucked being the only brown people here for a while. It used to be like I would walk into a Walmart and I'd get followed around the store by a white employee, But nowadays, I can walk into a Walmart and get followed around the store by the other kind of Indian. I don't know why they think we're gonna steal. Like, I guess we stole their name. Not a big deal though, I don't think. Another Indigenous issue is drinking water, clean drinking water across the country. Did you guys hear about this story in Nova Scotia a few weeks ago in Grand Lake about the blue-green algae there? You heard about that? This blue-green algae, a woman was hospitalized, 2 dogs died, I believe, because of this blue-green algae. Similar stuff broke out in a lake near my place. It was red-green algae. I went swimming in there, and now the women don't find me handsome, but at least they find me handy. I showed up, I didn't know if I was at the right place because all the signs for voting. There's a voting station. We got the election coming up. As a province, we went from the McNeils to the Rankins. Nova Scotia Liberal Party, more like Nova Scotia Kitchen Party, am I right? I told that joke back when Rankin first got in February. I think he took it a little too literally, though. He went full-blown kitchen party. He started driving home drunk and stuff. Yeah, we got the election coming up. I don't know who the next guy is, but if trends continue, it's going to be a McMaster, Going to take home his own cousin or something. For a full-blown kitchen party. That's a small-town problem. Is anyone on Tinder in here? Yeah? If I was going to peg a table for being on Tinder, it would be that table, by the way. I had to download it. I had to delete Tinder, but I had to re-download it just because I'm here, Because I had to delete it because I live in a small town myself, in Eskasoni, right? And everyone on Tinder, you're fucking related to them, right? So you get this dilemma when you're swiping through. You're like, I don't want to be rude and not match my cousin. So you match with your cousin and they send you a message and it's all fucked. Yeah, sex life, dating life, it's super weird in a small town. Have you guys ever heard of baseball terms used sexually? Like, he got to second base. You know what that means? What is second base? No? Second base, I think, below the neck. Does anyone know? Cop a field, yeah. That's second base. First base I think is kissing. Second base is copping a field. Third base I think is like mouth stuff. And then a home run is, home run. Those are like euphemisms in the real world. People don't want to say they got to third base. But like, when you grow up in a small town, those are rules, you know? First cousin, first base. Second cousin, second base. After 4, it's a home run. You're good.